Sadhguruji, thank you very much for
Namaskaram.
speaking with us, and congratulations on this wonderful journey that you have
Yeah, I'm
undertaken.
still not completed, huh?
You've still not completed. I mean, how many more million miles do you have left to do?
I have to reach Coimbatore, so we will reach Yoga Center on the International Yoga Day, 21st of June. So still there are another eight states or 9 states to cover.
Right, you've done 26 countries, 30,000 kilometers. The numbers keep adding up, and all the interviews that you have done, I've been researching on them, and all the foreign anchors that you've met with, you know, the ones that you met like Trevor Noah, Joe Rogan, they're all fascinated by the number of followers that you have on the internet. What is that message that you carry which just, you know, it's like a magnet for people?
It's not about the message. See, whether people are conscious of it or not, the only and only thing that people want is life, because that's all they have. They may not articulate like this in their mind, but that's all they want. Somebody thinks it's food, somebody thinks it's money, somebody thinks it's wealth, somebody thinks it's love, somebody thinks it's pleasure, somebody thinks it's more profound experiences of life, somebody thinks it's mukti. But all they're looking for is life and deeper life, that's all. If somebody exudes that life, pure life, unadulterated life, that's all I am. They cannot ignore it.
How do you identify, or how do you describe this life that you talk about, that you exude?
See, there is nothing else here in this cosmos other than life. But human beings were given a certain cerebral capability, which is very fantastic, which gave us a certain capacity to do certain things. It gave us a certain capacity to analyze, look at things and various aspects. Above all, a fantastic sense of memory, a vivid sense of memory and a fantastic sense of imagination, which is unique to human beings among all the creatures which are here. I think human beings have taken it a bit too seriously and gotten it all mixed up. So they do not know the difference between their memory, their present experience of life and their imagination. They've gotten all mixed up. So there is a hodgepodge of experience, there's no clarity of anything. See, memory is just a footprint of life. Imagination is the direction of life. It's not life. Life is here. But people get so caught up in the footprint and in the direction that they have lost their direction right now. So, there is only life here. It may be in the form of soil, it's life. It may be a worm, insect, bird, animal, tree. It's all just life, or human beings. Because of the cerebral capability is like a crown upon life. You know, if you look at the evolutionary process of life on this planet, we are like the flower of evolution, peak. And in this human being, cerebral capability is a crown. But the crown is fitting like a crown of thorns right now, because most people suffer their own thoughts and emotions more than anything else in the universe. Nothing else is poking them, except their own thought and emotion. So now, the crown has turned into a crown of thorns.
Misery.
They're causing themselves to it. So if they see someone wearing a glorious crown which doesn't trouble him, then they're drawn to it.
So when you traveled across these countries, you carried this message of save the soil. What is it that, you know, post-COVID or even pre-COVID, there's this sense that there's an overwhelming sense that it's save the soil one day, it's save environment, save water, save ecology. So you get kind of overwhelmed with these messages which seem like a doomsday prediction that everything is going to end. So how is your message different in that respect?
See, if everything ends, then there's no problem at all. If life ends, then what's the problem here? There's no problem. The problem is life will not end, it just fades. And fade is going to be a cruel rub on human beings. So is this one more message? People also telling me this, Sadhguru, initially you were talking about Project Green Hands, about planting trees, then you said rivers, then you said Kaveri calling, now you're saying soil. No, I've been only talking about soil. When I said trees, your people's heads are made in such a way, they think trees will be planted upon their head.
It's related
It can
to
only
soil.
be in the soil. When I say river, a tropical river flows because of soil, not because of ice melting somewhere. It's not a glacial river, it is a tropical river. The monsoon waters has to be held in the soil and let go. What happens in 70 to 90 days of downpour has to be held in the soil for 365 days, that's a tropical river. So I've never been talking about anything other than soil, going in installments at people.
I get that it's not as if you have moved away from the message. What
Okay,
I tried
about
to say
overwhelming sense of what's
Yes.
happening in the society. See, first of all, you said pre-COVID, post-COVID. I don't want to give COVID that kind of significance. For me, COVID time was very good because it's unfortunate that over 6 million people lost their lives. Apart from that, the rest of it, I think, was a great opportunity for human beings to come to terms with themselves, face their own mortality, strengthen themselves physically, mentally, emotionally, in every way. Above all, we need to understand why a simple respiratory tract infection is killing so many people. You don't have to go to some top virologist, any doctor will tell you, if you don't have vitamin A, B, C, D, B6, B12, and iron, folate, magnesium, copper, zinc in your diet, respiratory tract infection, flu can kill you, all right? Everybody knows this. So, the nutrients are so low right now in the food that you're consuming, this is one of the reasons. And why in an affluent country like America, maximum number of deaths are happening? Simply this, because the soil has become so weak.
So how serious is this soil crisis that propel you to go across the world to speak to heads of state, heads of government, to make the Save Your Soil movement a part of every country's strategy?
How serious means, see, to call soil a soil, the UN agencies fix minimum 3%. 3% means you're providing microbial life in the topsoil, famine diet, very stringent diet, that's what 3% means. But that much is needed to call soil a soil, otherwise it's in the process of becoming sand. Not a single nation, not even a single nation in the entire world has an average of 3% organic content in its agricultural soils. The highest is in Northern Europe, which is 1.48%. United States is 1.25%, Southern Europe is 1.1%, Africa is 0.3%, India is 0.68%. Below 1% is considered desertification. We are already there. So how serious should it get? Unfortunately, people think unless a few million people die, it's not serious enough. This is very unfortunate and inhuman to think like this. But that's where people are, oh, nothing has happened. What more do you want? Nearly 500,000 farmers have committed suicide across the world in the last 25 years. If this doesn't awaken your humanity, I do not know what else needs to happen.
You've been talking about organic farming and you've been, asking farmers in South India to do this for over 20 years now. Does it stupefy the world? Does it make the world sit up and notice that a so-called third world country has been practicing organic farming to a certain extent, much before it became a fad?
I'm not really talking about organic farming per se.
Not adding chemicals
Yeah.
into the soil would be organic, isn't it?
I'll come to that. But about a third world country, I think it's very bad to divide kind of the world into three parts.
Yeah.
So as an Asian nation, India has over 12,000 years of agricultural history. It's among the longest in the world, organized agriculture for over 12,000 years. For 12,000 years, we managed our soils well. That means we must know what we're doing, isn't it? It's only in the last 45 years we have destroyed this. About me talking about tree-based agriculture, which eventually will lead to organic agriculture. Organic is something that the urban people always like to talk about, because it's just a word that's caught on people's imagination. But if right now, if you want to turn all lands into chemical-free agriculture, I think our food production could come down to 25% of what it is right now, which will be death. Which will be severe death. So we should not talk on those terms, we should only talk about enhancing the organic content in the soil. As the soil becomes rich, the usage of pesticides, chemicals, fertilizers will start sliding down. That's how it should happen, not the other way around. Because we don't like chemicals, we say remove it. If we do that, you cannot provide food for 8 billion people. Without fertilizer, you cannot do it right now. We are not in that condition. Soil is not in that condition anywhere. If you raise your organic content to 12–15%, then maybe it is possible to think of raising food without chemical fertilizer, but I am not such a stickler against chemical fertilizer at all. If you have to use a little bit, use it. It just has to be used in a doctored manner. Right now, it's being used extensively because soil is so poor. It is like, if you're eating good food and you're healthy, maybe you take one vitamin pill if you need something, maybe an iron or foliate or something. But now you're seriously ill, now they're pumping all kinds of stuff into you all the time and they're taking 50, 100 tablets per day. So that is the state of a sick person. That is the state of sick soil right now, that people are throwing that much fertilizer because farmer does not enjoy throwing fertilizer as people think, because it costs a lot of money.
So when you take this message, do the pharma lobbies work against you, lobby against you?
Not at all. Farmers are 100% with us.
The pharma lobbies?
The pharma lobby, why?
Because you are talking in terms of slowly reducing the amount of chemical fertilizers.
We are talking about transforming fertilizer industry. Already it's beginning to happen in a serious way. I've had meetings with some of the top fertilizer companies in Davos recently, and they are all very much with this, because they are saying, we have already come up with biofertilizers, but there is no market. For that to gain market, it takes incentives. This is where incentives are needed. If government gives incentives, see, if you use biofertilizer, we will give you this much incentive, then it will pick up.
Okay.
I said, whatever you can produce, if you get me the incentives, within 3 months, we will offtake all the load that you have, everything, that inventory that you have, we will pick it up in 3 months' time, just India. If you give us the incentive for the farmer. Without incentive, farmer is not able to do it because biofertilizers right now are costing much more than the chemical fertilizer.
Sadhguruji, you said you don't believe in giving so much importance to COVID, despite, of course, as you said, so many people died because, you know, there was a pre-COVID and post-COVID. Actually, the reason why I said that was also because once COVID happened, people just kind of stopped on their tracks and rethought about priorities in life. This whole work-life balance came into focus. So many people were on this rat race, and it's only when this work from home began and they stopped by to take note of it.
I thought you were talking about human societies.
Human societies. Human societies.
But you were talking about rats just now.
So this just kind of, you know, it just kind of shocks you to realize that everybody was on this path towards success, but it really did not, you know, it was nothing. Nothing could stop COVID. So people who, you know, were on this race towards material success have started rethinking about that. Do you agree with it? Or do many people come to you for solutions to that?
Yes, everybody talked about it at one time, but right now I think only very few people have learnt anything from it. Everybody else is going back to their old way of life with vengeance.
Really?
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay.
Because see, it's very important that a human being is conscious that we are mortal, always. Otherwise we'll do silly things. If we don't understand, the time that we have is very limited. We are just a certain amount of time and certain amount of energy. The time that we have is not something that we can control because it's rolling away for all of us. We can teach you some yoga and learn to push it a little bit, but yoga or no yoga, anyway you will die, okay? This is a fact of life. So if you are aware of your mortality, then definitely you will organize your life better. you will do things that really matter to you. If all human beings begin to do what genuinely matters to them, we will have a beautiful world. Right now, they don't even know what they're doing something because their neighbor is doing it or somebody else is doing it. So this must stop. Even to save soil, this is very important. Somebody was saying, it seems some, I don't know, some 100 light years away or something, it seems there are 300 planets just like Earth, some of them much bigger, 10 times bigger than Earth, but same kind of atmosphere and everything. I said, all the best, you can start your journey, you know. But what we need to understand is, with the present mode of in search of human happiness, in pursuit of human happiness, if people are in this mode, if you give them 8 billion planets, one for each, in 100 years' time, they'll destroy it.
That sounds very ominous.
It's not ominous, you can shift right now. If you understand, your happiness, your well-being cannot come from outside. It's an inner experience. Human experience only happens from within you.
You spent so much time in the US in the past couple of years, even during this motorbike journey. There's a lot of talk now that the gun violence which is happening in the country, a major reason for that is mental health of the youth. Did you find during your interactions that there was this disconnect between the youth and their happiness, their well-being?
I met a psychiatrist, a lady psychiatrist. She said, in my 20 years of practicing psychiatry, nobody ever came and asked this, but when the pandemic was at its peak, many young girls coming and asking her, can you suggest where we can learn some yoga and bring some balance to ourselves? So, that search for inner balance has kind of touched people. A few people have hung on with it, others have just forgotten and think they can settle it with a glass of beer. Once again, that is happening. But mental health and violence, very connected. But I'm asking, see, have we not made violence very popular thing? A 5-year-old child is playing video game. What do you think he's doing? You think he's playing badminton? He's shooting somebody, all right? Most of the time, he's shooting something. So, from the age of 5 till 18, if I am that child, if I'm going on shooting on the screen, when I become 18, would I not like to graduate to something more real? You're just getting that new generation coming out now. They've been shooting all their life, now they're coming out and really shooting, because when you turn into an adult, you graduate in some way, isn't it?
So how are parents supposed to handle this, Sadhguruji?
I'll come to this. One more thing is, see, look at all the movies that you make, the television stuff that you make. If you and me have an argument, the only way is I pick up something and crash it on your head, or bash up your face, or shoot you in the head. Isn't this the way every disagreement is settled in most movies, television serials and everything? So we are setting up that example, this is the way of settling every argument, every disagreement. Well, the whole process of civilization is, even if we fundamentally disagree with the basic aspects of life, we can still sit down and talk it out, debate, and if we cannot, we can move a little away. This is civilization. But are we not reversing that on our television screens, cinema screens, video game screens? Are we not seriously trying to reverse the basic process of civilization, where instead of bashing your face, I can talk to you?
So you think tolerance is the way out, that's the only thing?
No, I didn't say that. I'm saying this tolerating this kind of rubbish in the society definitely leads to this. Why are you surprised? Why are you surprised when a 18, 20-year-old man wears full military gear and starts shooting children of all the things in the world? Why are you surprised? Because in everything you're cultivating violence, isn't it? You're getting that new crop who call themselves millennials or whatever. Now they started with video games, they live on screens, and in the screen violence doesn't spill blood in their face. So it all seems okay, isn't it?
Do you see that in India too? This kind of
Still it is
Intolerance.
not so large scale, so you're not seeing it. It's not so large scale because how many children in India, urban children get to do those things? Even in that, only a percentage of well-to-do children get to do those things. It's not as widespread as it is in United States of America. And above all, that country was formed like this. Gun was the law at one time. So using of a gun is not really considered such a… like how you're shocked here, somebody pulled out a gun means everybody will be shocked here. Carrying a gun is a normal thing, I've seen many times. See, we live in Tennessee, almost every pickup truck has a rifle in it, always. Like, in a restaurant, if ladies open their bag to pay a bill or something, they take out their little gun and keep it aside and pay their bill and put it back. So gun is not such a strange thing as you think the rest of the world thinks or India thinks. In United States of America, gun is a part of their existence because in most parts they live in places where they need a weapon. In many places.
Is the solution just to stop guns, ban
See, you
guns?
cannot stop guns, it is just that you can stop assault rifles and those kind of things about which debate is going on. But the argument from the other side is the Second Amendment gave them the right to bear arms against United States of America.
Yes, right.
Okay, that is the structure of the nation. This is what the Union meant. People own large tracts of land.
Yeah.
They were asked to surrender their land with the promise that if you wish to fight against the United States government and army, you can. Well, today it may sound ridiculous, but that is the basic structure. So now assault rifles, why would you need in a day-to-day
For
life?
civilians.
A handgun. But I'm telling you, you can remove the assault rifles, even I would say it's better it goes.
Right.
But in United States, large segments of population hunt. So they have hunting rifles. They have shotguns, which are very much a part of day-to-day life.
Yeah.
And handguns are everything. Like a 8-year-old kid posts on the Facebook and says, my first gun. 8-year-old child, with all cowboy clothes and everything, facing the real gun, I'm saying, not a toy gun, a real gun. And in Tennessee, they feel it is very proper that a child should learn how to use the gun responsibly rather than not being able to use a gun.
You've been in out of the country, but I'm sure you're aware about the violence and the intolerance which is happening in the country. You're reading about it internationally. People are talking about rising intolerance in India, religious intolerance. What is your view about this?
I think we tend to exaggerate things quite a bit. Yes, there are a few issues which have come to debate and there is a lot of heat on the television channels. You don't see that anywhere on the street, all right? You walk across Delhi, you walk across any village in the country, there is no such intolerance or such violence or anything. There are some contentious issues where there is some debates going on. I think they're all in the court of law. You should allow the law to go its way. But now, once that get momentum, a few people are very excited and going all over the place. And in case there is an election or something in the area, people use that to do these things. But I feel these things have come down significantly in the last 25 years because 25 years ago, when we were in university, there was not a single year when there was no major communal riot in the country. Every year, there used to be somewhere, major. We have not heard of such things in the last 5–6 years at least, or maybe 10 years. We have not heard of such things. Here and there, some flashpoints have happened, unfortunately, but large communal violence, as we thought is normal for this country to face, you are not hearing that, which is a very, very positive thing. There are people who are looking for trouble all the time. I think the law should contain such people because in all the communities, people want to take care of their lives, they want to educate, they want to find jobs, they want to make a good living. And above all, the women folk in their families want to live well. They don't want their men to be bickering and quarreling, they don't want to be the wives of soldiers anymore. So that is also a big thing.
So you think that aspirational India has no time or patience?
They don't have time or patience, nor do they have intent in that direction. Some people are always such such elements are there everywhere.
But when you go abroad, I mean, obviously everybody wants you to defend India and to defend anything that happens in India. Do you find a lot of questions among people as to whether there is actual genuine secularism in India?
I don't think so. A whole lot of people think India's election is the most fantastic thing that's happened in the world.
Okay.
In United States of America, they don't trust their own election system. They say our system is lousy, India is doing great. This is a common refrain that I hear. There are a few very people with strong views because of their own their vested interests who talk about this and that. But generally, I think the word India commands so much more respect now than ever before. I've been traveling for so long. Okay. Indian means you have to slink through lines. Now Indian means people say, oh, India.
Is that Sadhguruji you or is it India?
I think it's India, it's not me. I think Sadhguru also has found a little higher place because India has found a higher place, as every citizen will.
Okay. What is the one thing that you would say that the youth find, an immediate connect with you? That I find fascinating more than anybody else. I can understand older people who are, who have genuine problems and what is it because young people have very little patience for gurus.
Because I'm younger than them, that's why.
Why do you say that?
I'm okay. In every way, because what does youth mean? Youth means essentially, you are not burdened by various aspects of life, you're still looking forward to life, you still find life exciting, you're not come to be overburdened by the process of life. Well, I find every breath exciting, so I'm far more youthful than more youth. And it's like this, I was in one of these countries on the way, I'm just mixing up all the nations.
I don't blame you, 26 countries.
So…
and on a motorbike.
Yes, and they were asking me, okay, this happened in Bratislava, I think. I was to get there around 7 p.m. and I had an interview like this, a television interview. But because of weather and really roads being very bad and traffic, I got there around 11:15. But they had set up a whole room, so they didn't want to give up, they were waiting till 11:15, the anchor and everybody. So I parked my motorcycle and walked straight into the interview, and it was an hour and a half interview. And I went through that, and then this television anchor asking me, Sadhguru, how do you do this? Nearly 9 hours you've been on the motorcycle, you come straight here, you sit here and do this, how do you get this energy at this age, 3 times he repeated, this age. I said, stop it. See, I've lived my life so intensely, I never had the time to get old. It takes a lot of time to get old, isn't it?
No aches and pains, no cursing out time and hamare zamane mein aise tha, in our time it wasn't
like this. What do you mean? This is my time.
This is… okay. That's how… okay, that's the connect that you have with the youth, it's my time. Another question I have, Sadhguruji, is like, many people have so many lost their family members, they lost closed ones during COVID, intense amount of grief and very little time and bandwidth to come to terms with it. In such a situation, how does you realize that, okay, I need a guru or I need a teacher, I need somebody who can lead me out of this darkness? How does one figure out that state, and where does one reach out to then?
See, the way things happened during the COVID time, it's not just death, death happens every day. The important thing is, there was no closure to death for many people. From the hospital, they were taken straight to cremations and they couldn't even see… you don't even know whether they really died or not, it could be a wrong number in the ward, who knows? I'm saying, when you love somebody and when somebody matters to you, this is how you would think. I didn't see the face. How do I know it's my whoever, all right? It could be somebody else. So it's a very painful process.
It was a surreal kind of grief. So to come out of that, you need kind of help. But in our Indian society, there is no system of, going to psychologist or are seeking help, so it's usually to a guru. How does one reach out? Because those systems have broken down.
That's why when the very beginning, when the COVID pandemic started unfolding, I knew where it's going. If you don't know this started in the month of March, yes, in the beginning of March. In February, I published a book called Death, The Inside Story. I don't know if you've seen that one.
No, I haven't.
You haven't. So I published a book on death in February. This book was in works for 8 years, but I rushed it up and published it in February. I did not know there's going to be a pandemic, but I knew there's a dark cloud for humanity for sure. In what form it'll come whichever form it comes. So I insisted and published that book ahead of time, and that book was a big seller because it gave solace and support for people, an understanding of what death is. When somebody near to you dies, you want to understand what happened. See, death happened because of infection, whatever, that's a different matter. But the person who was here alive with me yesterday is gone now, where are they gone? This is a deep question which should come at a very early stage in your life, then you would become spiritual. But especially when people dear to you pass away, these questions will naturally come. What happened to this person who was very real yesterday and today absent? Just like that.
So do many people come to you with these kind of issues?
So that's why I started at that time daily evening, darshans, daily 1 hour for I don't know how long, how many months we carried this on? 3 months daily, after that weekly we did for the rest of the time.
You spend a lot of time in the US. There have been many yogis, gurus, mystical men who have
they've gone there and messed it up so badly for me, many of them.
Really? Do people think that you're just another one?
Unfortunately, if you say you're a spiritual person from India, then you'll have to prise open the door.
Okay.
Because
bring chains out of the air?
Whatever, I'm saying
or
the
yoga?
doors are closed, you have to open the door with some effort.
Skepticism, is it, or?
No, because they've been disappointed, they've been hugely… See, the level of trust that they had at one time, anything that came from India, I think a misuse and abuse of that has happened to a certain extent. Not every one of them, many of them have done wonderful work, but always the negative sticks out, the positive lies down,
Correct. So, and did you find that kind of resistance or that in the Middle East also?
One important thing is, people don't know what to make out of me, which is an advantage for me.
Why?
They don't know… they can't put me into a definition.
How do you define yourself?
Why should I define myself? Definition is an imprisonment, why would I imprison myself?
You would introduce yourself as a
Sadhguru,
mystic…
a Sadguru.
Okay.
Sadguru means an uneducated guru. Education is a definition, uneducation is not a definition. Knowledge is a definition, ignorance is not a definition.
You're not ignorant by any standards. You say you're ignorant?
I'm super ignorant and I know I'm ignorant. Everybody else is ignorant, but they don't know they're ignorant. That's a big difference.
Why do you say that, sir? You're confusing me now.
I'm asking you, in this vast cosmos, which you don't know where it begins, where it ends, you're sitting here in a small mud ball and doing this with me right now. Do you know anything about why this mud ball is floating around in the solar system and all this happening and spinning
I don't even
time?
pretend to, because
That's what I'm saying.
not…
We're all ignorant.
Okay.
But everybody… they're not conscious they're ignorant.
But they come to you for guidance.
I'm super conscious that I'm ignorant.
But you're guiding people, so if you're ignorant, how are you guiding people?
I know only one thing. I know this piece of life, from its origin to its ultimate, only this piece of life, nothing else. I only talk about this, but people think I'm talking about them, don't tell anybody.
Guruji, you have millions of followers and you have some 2 billion or something in just 1 year, on YouTube. That's not ignorance by any standards.
No, I'm saying…
So you could be very humble in saying this.
No, let me put it this way. See, your knowledge, your news, You may have a lot of knowledge. Even if you digest all the libraries on this planet, still with reference to this cosmic space, with this universe, your knowledge is a tiny speck, isn't it? The nature of your existence is, whatever you identify with, you become that. If you identify with your knowledge, you will become a tiny speck. But our ignorance is boundless. So I identify with my ignorance and I remain boundless, unchained by anything.
I'm still confused. I'll be honest with you.
No.
Even though you've tried to explain
Get
it.
it like this. See, knowledge means it's something that you've gathered, all right? How much can you gather? Whatever you gather, in comparison with this existence, it's minuscule, isn't
Agreed.
it? So you will become a minuscule if you identify with your knowledge. But is your ignorance minuscule or is it boundless?
Okay, I'm still confused, but anyway, let's put that aside. Sadhguruji, Isha Foundation, there's been criticism, very mild actually, that it's become like a big conglomerate. How do you stop it from becoming a corporate? Something which is like with profit in its mind? Because once that happens, it will corrupt the entire message, wouldn't it?
There is no such danger with the bunch of idiots that I have around me, no chance of becoming a conglomerate. They are all super enthusiastic, full of devotion, but they don't know, most of the time they don't know what the hell they're doing.
Okay.
Which is, I like it that way because it's the devotion, it's the involvement which makes life. It's not your sense of expertise about something.
You have people with tremendous expertise who have joined up with you, who
That's
left
what,
their careers.
If they come with an engineering degree, we put them in the kitchen. If they come with a cooking degree, we put them in engineering. We've maintained a certain structure of our own.
Okay, where is all the money coming from? You've become so big.
Where is all the money? Where is the money? Where is all the money?
You've become so big. You've like opened an office in the US.
Really?
You're now even your Coimbatore thing, and now Bangalore. You're becoming so big. You're making the other gurus very nervous.
Really? I'm sorry. I don't wish to make anybody nervous because I'm not in competition with anybody. About where is the money coming from?
I mean, like, when are you starting your own ketchup? When are you starting your toothpaste?
No.
When is all that going to happen?
No, I will not go that way, not because I'm against it. I don't think there's anything wrong with the ketchup or toothpaste because everybody uses it. It's just that that's not my priority. I don't want the foundation to go in that direction. We also make our own toothpaste, we also make everything, but as a rule, we've kept it small. It is a fix that, it can only be this much, don't make that the main thing. So suppose, for example, if you come to the yoga center, there are thousands and thousands of people who will claim, who are all over the world, who will claim their most chronic ailments, their terrible terminal illnesses went away, all this. But I've kept it that small because if I allow it to expand, we will become a hospital in no time.
And what's wrong with that then?
I'm here to serve a certain purpose for the spiritual evolution of a human being. Other things, if they're necessary, see, right now my involvement with environment is out of necessity. It's not my way of doing things. I'm involved in education. Education is the last thing I want to do. I barely went to school. Why would I want to education? But in the villages, when I see children are just stuck there without any hope of getting anywhere, then I start schools. Out of necessity, not out of my need to do it. Now we are 5,000 plus people living there, they're buying toothpaste from outside. So we make our own toothpaste. When we make our own toothpaste, it won't stop there. Many other people, 1 million people want to buy, so we make some for them. But we are not going outright commercial, not because I think it's wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong. If somebody can do it, why can't we do it? When I say somebody, when any corporate can do it and sell it for profit, why can't we do it with quality being the main concern? We can. It just takes away our focus. I don't have focus on those things because right now raising human consciousness is the most important thing. Every problem that we have is because of that. Human intelligence itself has become a problem because we are not conscious enough.
Do you feel our education system supports this spiritualism that you talk about? Or has it got lost?
Our education system is a chow-chow. When I say a chow-chow, even when I went to school, The days when I went
I
to
think
school.
only South Indians will understand this. You need to explain this.
What is a chow chow?
Yeah.
North Indians don't know what's
No,
chow chow?
no.
It's a mix of all kinds of things. It's like this.
Khichdi.
Khichdi. Khichdi, only 2 items are
Only
there.
2 items.
This is too many. You go sit in the classroom, even when I was supposed to go into school, the days when I reached school, most of the time I wouldn't reach school because I found life interesting on the way and I got lost. When I went to school, I just couldn't figure out what the hell are they trying to do. Because you go and sit there, somebody comes and starts talking about physics. My mind is just trying to spin physics. When I'm just trying to relate it to my life and what is physics happening, somebody else comes and talks literature. By the time I get physics out, this literature guy is already gone and biology guy has come. Every 45 minutes, what are you doing? Is it circus? It's just circus. This is not education.
Is that your next project now after soil?
No, we already have Isha homeschool, we have some
You have your school, but what I mean is that do you want to take it up on a large scale, that our education is not commensurate with what the needs of students or young children is?
See, right now there are efforts in policy, some changes have been made. But I don't think government can ever execute that because to train the manpower to do that, right now they are saying curriculum should be only about 4.5 hours per day. What number of hours? Half the time, 50%. 50% of the time should be curriculum, rest of the time it should be extracurricular stuff. How many schools in this country can actually do that? Do they have the infrastructure? Do they have the people? It's not going to happen in this country that quickly. I am not trying to blame anybody, that's a reality we are in. So the only way is to create some niche schools where at least a certain number of children grow up that way. So in the name of equality, in the name of spreading it around, we are making the lowest standard the standard. No, it's very important. We must understand no nation has developed equally for everybody at the same time. Some people surged ahead, then others will try to move up the ladder one way or the other. That's the only way it can happen. That's the only way every nation has developed. But in India, we have some silly idea, if we make the children a high standard of education we should do it for everybody at once. It'll never happen. We will set to the lowest benchmark that way. So we are trying to do some niche things like that because large-scale education becoming high quality and consciousness developing kind of education is not practical right now.
Right.
Just the sheer number of children who need to be educated, because many of them just seeking livelihood. For as I see in the villages, it's just a passport to get out of that,
Yes.
hopeless situation, both economic and social situations.
Sadhguruji, I've got to let you go and rest before you again
Right,
hop
somebody's
onto a
pushing, leave it.
motorbike. But I have a couple of questions.
You can
Tell me,
ask.
What was it that you really was most fascinating during this firstly, why the motorbike? And then secondly, what was it that you found most fascinating during these motorbike journeys?
See,
You have been a biker before this also.
Let me say this, for about 4.5 years, I literally lived on the motorcycle when I was very young. But after that 32 years, I never rode a motorcycle, nor did I even think about it. This is how I am. People won't understand this. People think, oh, he loves motorcycles. I did not even think about a motorcycle for 32 years. People who have known me, did they ever imagine I will ride a motorcycle in the ashram? Just ask them. All these years, nobody ever thought about it. When I was doing Rally for Rivers, somebody brought a motorcycle, because in Bangalore, Mysore area, everybody knows about my motorcycling. I crisscrossed India at that time. So they brought this and said, Sadhguru, why don't you ride? I was not sure if I could ride this because 32 years I've never even thought of a motorcycle. So I sat on it and then I realized I haven't lost a day. So since then I've been traveling on motorcycle.
Did you enjoy it?
And because there is pandemic, they said you should keep social distance. No better way than riding fast on a motorcycle, you clear social distance from everybody. So do I enjoy riding motorcycles? See, if I say this, it looks like I have a cliched way of looking at answering everything. But I want people to get this. I don't enjoy anything in my life.
You don't enjoy it?
Anything. I'm just joyful.
Yeah, so you don't enjoy but you're joyful. Don't confuse me further.
I'm saying, see, it is either you can use a certain activity to become joyful. If you use an activity to cause an inner experience, you get addicted to that activity.
Okay.
Somebody eats one laddu and they feel very good. Now they can't stop eating laddus. Somebody rides a motorcycle and they feel very nice, so they can't stop riding. I am not that kind.
Okay.
I am just joyful. I may be doing this, I don't know, after this is over I may not touch a motorcycle.
I think this is probably the only analogy right now I've understood clearly. Absolutely. Okay, so when you went on this motorbike, what is it that… I mean, everybody must have been fascinated, you know, with your beard and with your outfit and… I mean, a yogi from India on a motorbike. You tick-marked all the boxes and obviously curiosity then.
See, why a motorcycle? That question that you asked. See, if I flew from city to city by an airline or whatever, you think it would excite any interest? No. If I drove a car, would it? No. If I walked, would it? Maybe, but
Forrest Gump,
Yeah.
a Forrest Gump.
I would kill myself probably.
Okay.
If I ride a bicycle, maybe sure death. Motorcycle is near death but not death. If you make a mistake, you could die. There are many dangerous moments out there, really dangerous moments, I'm saying it's not…
You had that?
Oh yes, it's natural when you're on two wheels for so long. 100 days, you're on the motorcycle, going from event to event. You're not just riding for fun at your own pace. Always you're trying to get to some place on time. Always you're way faster than the rest of the traffic. So when you're riding like that, things can happen. Well, till now we've managed without any injury or anything like that, any collision.
Did you get tired, frustrated, angry like most of us would? Does a Sadguru feel those emotions?
If you want, I can get angry with you right
No,
now.
please do not. I just want to… It's an academic question.
I am not incapable of anything, but I have not given this to anyone that they can make me happy or unhappy or anything. If I choose you know, somebody needs a little bit of dose, I will do it if necessary, but I will not let somebody else determine how I should be in a given moment. So in that sense, there are so many things. I want you to understand the whole entire thing has been run by the volunteers. I've had, you know, people approach many I told them, don't do this thing, it'll not work. But you know, people think always professional agencies are better than this organization. They have such a thing. I know clearly well, no professional agency will do what Isha Foundation does, because life or death, they will do it. Day or night, they will do it. 24 hours of the day, they'll do it. Nobody will do it like that. They approach many professional organizations, when they told them what we want, they got mind-boggled. They said, no, no, we can't touch this.
Because of the enormity of the task.
Yes, it's not simple. Every day we're in a new country, new city. See, till now, I have done 526 events in 76 days, all right?
What was the biggest challenge, Sadhguruji?
Weather sometimes, wind.
Okay. Not humans.
In some places, you know, my front wheel was just lifting up because of the wind. You could kill yourself.
Not skepticism, not resistance from human beings.
Not at all. Spectacular response wherever we go.
Okay.
Only because of this Ukraine war, we missed the heads of states who had all confirmed, many of them had confirmed, but last minute they backed off.
Yeah, so were there political barriers, religious barriers to your message?
Not at all.
No.
No political barriers as such, because the message is so clear and straight and simple, nobody can disagree with it. And anyway, most of them were putting their heads down in shame because all these years nobody talked about soil. Why they did not talk about soil when it is nearly 40% of climate change and global warming happens because of degraded soils? Why is it that everybody is carefully avoiding soil? Soil was a bad word. The moment I started talking about it, either they had to join the chorus or say something against it, which they cannot, because the entire science is with us. This is something that I took care of. We traveled and met most of the top soil scientists and got them on our side because this is something that they know very well.
So your target audience are heads of state, heads of government and scientists. These are the people that, because you feel they are the ones who can influence policy. Is that what?
They are the people who can influence policy, but without people's mandate, policies are not going to happen. See, in most nations, governments are elected either for 4 or 5 years. This is the mandate. When you give somebody… suppose I make you the Prime Minister of this country and I give you 5 years. After 5 years, we don't know whether you'll be there or not. Tell me, would you focus your efforts and energies and budgets on trying to produce results in 5 years' time? Or would you focus on something that will bear results after 15 years or 20 years?
Well, politicians don't. They don't see 15, 20
see,
years.
instead of saying politicians as if they're some separate
Or
species…
career politicians.
No, I'm saying even if you had that 5-year term, you try to do things as much as possible within the 5 years which will bear results within 5 years.
5 years.
So that's all that's happening all over the world. So nobody wants to address soil. Now once I started putting out soil out there, nobody could say no to it because they know it is true. Everybody knows the problem, everybody knows what's the direction of the solution. They were just waiting for a village idiot to bell the cat.
Again, you undersell yourself. But how is a common man, because you know, you ended all your… the interviews that I've seen of you across the globe, you end every interview with this thing that people should just sign off with save your soil, like maybe your WhatsApp status or your email. Is that enough? Is that enough for
See, right
people?
now, the problem is I've been frustrating people with this. People say, Sadhguru, what should we do? Tell us, that's okay, Sadhguru, we will raise the voice. But what else should we do? No, nothing else. Just raise your voice and raise your voice and raise your voice. Because what they would like to do is roll up their sleeves, go home. They have a garden at home. You know what's their garden? One pot. They want to go and fix that one pot. They want to compost their vegetables, make compost, put it there and see how new green shoots came in their pot. This is not a solution, it's cute, but it's not a solution. Because we are well past those times. Now we have come to a place, urgent policy change doesn't happen. If we do not separate soil as a separate entity from all the other environmental issues that we have, even today in the media somebody was asking, what about the plastic bags floating around in Delhi? I said, plastic bags floating around in Delhi has nothing to do with any ecological issue. It is essentially irresponsible, lack of civic responsibility.
Yeah.
Do not misunderstand civic issues and social issues as ecological issues. The soil is an ecological issue and it's in a dire condition. Everybody wants to mix these things up. This is what I want all of you to push for. Soil should be separated from other aspects, even from fertilizer usage, pesticide usage, all these chemical usages and everything. Soil enhancement or enhancing the organic content of soil must be separated from everything else, because this is like this. One specialist came to examine my ears, another my eyes, another my bones. All the specialists are here. They're all meaningful only if I'm alive, isn't it? If I'm dead, what are these specialists going to do? Right now, that is our condition. Soil is moving towards extinction. It's not a joke. Now we are talking about all these small things because we like to distract ourselves, and of course so many people make a living out of conferences, they have to keep on talking. Yes, this is an unfortunate reality.
Yeah.
I'm saying conferences and conferences, we have spoken enough. We have enough science to tell us what's wrong. What is the action plan? If you do not separate soil, these debates will go on, because with all the other aspects, there are industries, there are businesses which will come into conflict. I am not saying it's wrong. They need debate, they need more convincing, they need time to transform themselves. All these issues are there. But enhancement of organic content in the soil is like, first thing is put food into the system, after that we will talk about all the medicine.
Sadhguruji, before I go, I have to ask you a question which was given to me by one of your big bhaktas, who said that now Sadhguru has become all international, we are going to lose him from India to the world.
He's watching the videos only now. I've been international for over 25 years, but you didn't lose me. I've been traveling more. I was traveling across the world. I made a conscious decision not to go to non-English speaking countries because too much time was being wasted in translations and stuff, so I stuck to only English-speaking nations, which slowly came down to United States and India. All other nations I cut it off. So whoever this big bhakt is, how can a bhakt be bigger?
In the sense that completely involved in service towards the Isha Foundation,
Then
they feel that you probably will, you'll be usurped by America like many others have gone.
If that's what they think about their guru, that he is such a tiny… what do you say, he's a catch in the net.
Your heart is still in India?
My heart is in my chest and that's where it'll stay.
Your karma bhumi, you're making me ask the same question.
No, because what I'm saying is, see, for me, India is very dear to me, not because I was born here, not because of my memories of childhood and stuff. It's very dear to me because in many ways it's the only possibility for the world, because this is a land of seekers. Land of seekers means you become a genuine seeker only when you somewhere realize that you do not know. If you think you know, you cannot be a seeker. So this is the fundamental difference between cultures which strongly believe in something and cultures which are a bit confused and seeking. So this is a culture where we have consciously evolved over thousands of years to be a land of seekers. This is not a land of believers. Even when the so-called divine entities came, even they could not give us a commandment. All they got is argument, all they got is questions, because this is the land of seekers. So maintaining this land of seekers for some more time is very important, because as human intellect evolves, the whole world will become land of seekers. So India maintaining its present position of what it represents from ancient times is very important. In that sense, this is my heart. This is not dear to my heart, this is my heart.
Thank you so much for speaking with us, Sadhguruji.
Thank you.